Hey, thanks for joining us again. I am still working on a little project. I've got a little jar that I put a rosette top on, 16 points. But once I take it off the ornamental lathe over there and take the cutter away, when I try to go back, because it's a shop-made tool, a homemade tool, I can't realign it without recutting it. And right now I can't do that. So I didn't want to lose the piece. I decided to take the top off. Now I'm going to go ahead and rework the cap. Now this I glued on with this duct tape, Sure Tape, SHURTAPE. Their phone number is 888-442-8273. If you can't find it at Lowe's, they quit handling it. You can't find it, just give them a call. They're great people. They'll help you out. They'll tell you who's retailing it for you. All right, now we pushed it on with my cup because I wanted it to run true. Look, I mean, it is running true. But I don't believe it. I'm going to do what every good wood turner or woodworker would do, and that is I'm going to put the eye on it. That's right, I'm going to give it the eye. And if it's lined up, I'll be able to see it. If not, I know how to get a hammer and adjust it. But because I'm putting my head down here where the tailstock is, and I'm thinking about being safe today, I took the tailstock, the point out. And I'm going to get down and look at that center right there. It's a little bit high to that point. I'm going to try to ease it on down a little bit. This might be a trick. Okay, I got to go down a skosh and a quarter. That's really, really close. But I am not sure about how well that tape is going to hold. I'm on the reverse bearing tape of this piece already, so I allow myself to have a flaw. What else is new? This has got to be cut for a receiver. I'm going to hold it on using my, look at this. You can see inside of it. As I call it, a soft touch. They can't bind anywhere. I got me a chunk of mahogany I had around here from a handrail. I drilled about a 5/8 hole down the middle of it, but nah, that deep. And then I tapped it with a 3/4 10 tap that I got at the hardware store in the corner. So I didn't have to spend a lot of money to do this. And if you don't get it from the hardware store, you're going to pay a lot of money for it. Now this is made to put pressure on this piece without me having to worry about cutting it. I'm holding it back a little bit, and I'm going to put a little pressure on it, just a little. And what's that doing is stabilizing my bind so I can go ahead and get the cover shape on this. Now this is going to be actually the top. This will be the part that goes into my piece. So we're going to do the first part of this with calipers. God, I hate putting calipers. We will watch. The real beauty of doing this is not really a beauty. I've been away from the shop for several years. My calipers, my inside outs, have kind of corroded together. So now I can check the ring, yeah, just make sure, and I'm a tiny bit oversized. So now I can use this to gauge this back part and get it down the first time just about where I need it at. Just about where I need it at, okay? That's how we're going to cheat. We're going to shield up. This is plastic. I don't care what people say, it will fracture, it will hurt you. I've got about 3/8 of an inch left over. Yep, which gives me a little room. We'll square up the outside first. Whoop. On button. There we are. Got a little chatter in it. Going to do some slicing, some scraping cuts. Flute's almost vertical and it's taking very light cuts. I I have to stabilize the tool. If I let it bury, it's just going to bounce. Did I just lie to you? I probably did. I'm going to get out my scraper, my really cheap scraper with a good little hook on it. I'm going to make some light passes across it. Why? Because this scraper, look how small a cut it's taking. It's really scraping this down to a good finish. And I won't have any tear marks from the gouge. Even using it on shear, it still has some little bitty marks. I know when I'm doing good work when that's what's left over. Because those strings won't stay if you don't cut them uniformly. And this is doing that. It is shearing them or scraping them uniformly. Now this is not a piece of cast resin. This is a piece of bulletproof glass from a bank I built 20 plus years ago. I saw the guy cut something out and I said, hey, can I have that scrap? And he said, you want more scraps? I took home several 100 pounds of scraps. Some of it 2 inches thick. Beautiful stuff, gorgeous. I found this piece, I rosetted in a pile, which shouldn't have been there, but I'm still cleaning up the shop. And I want to make a lid for it. So this side you're looking at will be slightly domed. Now I'm going to start it with a soft touch, touching it, and I'm going to roll it out. But first I'm going to do that negative on the back side so I know exactly what I'm working to. And I think I can move you to see that. To do this, I'm going to go the old-fashioned way. I turn my speed up. I'm at about 1,412.7. 1,412.7. Because y'all know those speeds are real critical. I'm going to go in my little multi-tool. See the little multi-tool? It's made by the same people who make those little texturers, which we're going to get to one day soon. Light them up. Not too aggressive, it'll burn. And that's about where we want to be. It's a little bit too tight right now, but when I flip it around, it'll be okay. I want to do this heavy cutting now while I've got this support and that support and all that. I'm going to undercut this a little bit using a parting tool. I'm going to polish it later, but I don't want any heavy cuts on it. And then I'm going to round off the top. You with us? Good. To do the doming, I'm going to start in with my 3/8 inch bowl gouge. It's got an Ellsworth grind on it. It's not the only tool that'll do this. It's one of my favorites. I'm grinding a couple of new points now. See, too aggressive, it'll bite. That's the kind of finish I can work with because I don't have a lot of sanding to do. I have to improve this to absolutely no scratches. So now I have this cut, the crown a little bit cut. I'm be happy with that for now. I'm going to remove the tailstock and the soft touch and dome that top out. Now move my soft touch and my tailstock back. Make sure you get it out of your way. Do the test cuts. You swing your tool without making cut, nothing turned on. Do your swinging and see if it's clear, and if you're coming up to about the halfway point. Now if I ran my skew flat, I'd be above the halfway, below the halfway point. Not good. I'm going to tip it up and run where the cutter is coming right across the center of that piece. Right there. I got a little mark in there. That's what I can roll to. Let's roll. Now, if you want them cut into the circle, you see the dot? The dot's the center. See the cuts? I don't know if you caught it. It came off. It did. Glue gave up. Told you I thought I had a weak spot. So I just put a patch of glue back on it. And I'm checking it, see if it's going to hold up. It's running pretty center. I'll put my cone back on it. Let it sleep for about 10 minutes. It's time for a sandwich anyway. I waited a few minutes. I like it. I got one little catch right there. And I'm going to see if we can sand it out. Otherwise, we'll scrape it again. But I like the way it's domed out. I'm going to go with a 120. And this is micro mesh or something like that. I get it from Vince Welch. I don't remember the name of it. They say I just tell Vinny what I'm going to do, and he gets me the right material. And we don't really do brand names. Brand name ain't done a thing for me. Let's crank it up. I turn the speed down to 511.2. Okay. Now if I sand like this, I'm just going to generate a lot of something and nothing nice. So I'm going to sand like this. It's real easy sanding, not a lot of pressure. Let the material do the work. And the water, just along to make it fun. For me, this is a push. This is 1500 grit, no polishing now. It's still cutting. As long as you can see the white coming off, that is the plastic moving, you're cutting. If you don't see plastic moving, you're burnishing. There's no good in that. I found it. Yeah, I found it. All right. This is what I'm in. I'm not very clear right now. I'm at 1500. When I add water to it, move it a little bit, I am clear. I use for a polish this product right here. Meguiar's Plastics. It's great for cleaning headlights. Clear plastic cleaner and polish removes cloudiness, yellowing, oxidation upon scratches. Now it's even faster. So you got all the details. I use toilet paper. It's the softest thing I got in the shop. It is softer than the baby's butt. We did a match on it. Put a little bit on that. Crank it, see up. But keep going, machine. That's why I don't use a rag. Is that a little burr caught and tore it off? Well, on a rag, it would have taken a finger with it. Meguiar's Plastics is what you use when your headlights get a little foggy. That's what I used on my wife's car. Took a few minutes of sanding. I had to go back down to 400 in order to buff it out. Now here's the deal. If you think you can start higher and finish sooner, that doesn't work. If you start low and you build up, you're removing the little scratches. The little scratches are the ones that let the big scratches show through. So we're going to buff it a little bit more Meguiar's. Hey, the beauty about this Meguiar's stuff, as much as you think it's just an automotive product, it's available at your local O'Reilly hardware store now, or auto place. That's it. We're going to put it on a glue block, on a duct tape block again, turn it around and clean up that bottom. Now, I did it this way, and it seems like a lot of work. But I want to get you to understand, if you put the money in and the time in the beginning, it'll be so much better when you finish. Now, I tell you, I cheat sometimes. This is what I'm going to do. This is an adapter that goes in my live tail stock, okay? And it is geared to fit on a 3/4 10. Then it's matching my 33 millimeter that is in my chuck. Now, what the heck does this do? This is going to help me get perfect alignment when I put the glue chuck over here, because I can spin this and see if it's perfectly lined up, and then I'm going to have it on that glue block just the way I want it. No bumps, no wiggles, nothing else. There we are. Now the glue block. Went in with the multi-tool and cleaned this up a little bit. Got pretty much perfect fit. I don't have any rattle. I don't want to pop fit because it's plastic and it will not pop together. But I'm right here and I'm kind of liking the shape. What I have to do now is sand out these edges and then I'll be done. Sometimes folks make fun of your tools. You see that? That is a 6mm Robert Sorby regular bowl gouge. It's cut like a bowl gouge, round like a bowl gouge, everything else. Perfect for what we're doing here. Oh, I'm going to clean up this a little bit. Almost like a scraper. See what it's removing? That's like a couple of grits of sandpaper right there. Cleaned it all up, nice and smooth. Not a lot of resistance from a large cutter. So if somebody laughs at your little 6mm gouge, well, let them laugh. Hey, I know this is running a little bit long in the tooth, okay? But I came out with a project in mind. I wanted to salvage something from the shop that got wet a couple of times. I mean, this went underwater 5 or 6 times because we've got a great drainage system in South Louisiana. All right, and I wanted to save it. So I came out the other day and started. I trimmed out the inside. I put this on with epoxy. I cleaned up some detail on it. We realized there's a beautiful detail on the bottom I have to save yet. Then I went over and did the lid. Now, the lid I worked on the other day, and I stopped because it was running long in the tooth, and I had to stop. But I have a lid now that goes on it. And I'd stuck it on a jam chuck with a piece of double stick tape. And I like that sure tape. Boy, that stuff is good. But man, you talk about hard to get off. Whew. Which really is what you want in tape. You want it hard to get off. Otherwise, with that cheap carpet double stick tape or that other that other crap they sell, you don't get as good a grab, and your piece moves. I have to take this in and take a little scum, but so look, that white ring around it, that'll go away when I get in with the Q-tips and clean it up, because it's all sanded out right, all ground up right. But you know, if I'd highlighted the circle, if I went a piece of metal and highlighted it, it still looked pretty damn good. Pardon my language. Well, how you like this? My wife is one of the finest seamstresses in the world. She'll wreck it over. Quilts, pillowcases, dry bags, all that stuff. Oh, don't ask her to sell it. She gives away the cash of patience. I'll get in there with her and quilts and things sometimes. Don't tell anybody about it. But it's what we have to do. Really, we have to do it. Now, I've cleaned it up a little bit and put it on there, and that is the finished piece. Well, it's not finished, but that's close, isn't it? I like it, especially with the starburst in the bottom. Now, that really works. Color it? What do you mean color it? I ain't coloring it. You know. And really, that ring almost disappears on the edge. You see? When I say almost. Right. Well, that's a couple of steps in this project. The next step in this project, and you don't have to worry about walking that far today, I'm going to take this off the glue block using a jam chuck. I'm going to jam chuck it, remove this, clean up the bottom, get it ready for detailing. And you know what? This might be a laser engraved situation. Set up the laser engraver and put my name and some decoration, you know, some artwork on the bottom of it. That's it. That's our project. You got a minute? I want to talk. I'm not going to wait. This is coming out. Hey, want to chat for a minute? I like this little project. I came out, I spent way too much time on it. You know that. But I need to salvage something out of the shop. It's been just about exactly 7 years since I had a brain tumor. And that tumor really took away my life. Before that, I could work at the World War II Museum as a docent a couple of times a week, which I loved. I traveled to teach at clubs and talk to people. I organized events for local clubs, not just this local club, but many local clubs. I developed audio-visual systems for them. Some of them, I even gave them the cameras. I was having a fantastic life, and then this acted up. Now, it wasn't a little thing, although the doctors told me later on that they have no idea how I lived through some of it. Well, I didn't. 3 times I had a toe tag on. But that was part of the game, if it was a game. But I enjoy what I'm doing, and this right now is relief. Now, I own a small company that sells carbide cutters, etc., etc., etc. EddieCastellan.com. We've been there for a dozen years. I've been doing YouTubes for more than 15 years. And that all came about as my wood turning club says, we don't have time to do those little simple projects. We want to move on to art. Well, I didn't want to move on to art. I didn't want to leave anybody behind. I don't leave you behind. If there's something I can do and I can explain it, show it, teach it, demonstrate it, whatever you want to call it, if I can share an idea about wood turning with you, then I feel like I've accomplished something for the day. Not braggadocious, not, oh, look what I can do, you can't do. I don't want to get into that. No. What I want to do is get into sharing information. So that's why I'm here, sharing information. And I'm enjoying it. And we have to bring up the young ones. We have to. My oldest daughter's one hell of a good craftsman. She builds furniture and sells it to supplement her income. Her daughter is a hell of a mechanic. Yeah. But get this, I've got a great grandson. Look at this. Look at this. This is all muscle. This is lean, trim muscle. He's on a swing at 10 months old. I tell you, his mom used to walk along the top of the fence in my yard. I'm waiting for the kid to be up there. It's coming. It's coming. But let me get back to this. What I'm doing here now is I'm thanking you. I'm thanking you to be part of what we do here. The YouTube, the Facebook, the newsletter I do for Worldwide Woodturners. Worldwide Woodturners in itself. We are having a ball. And we're sharing information on wood turning. Now, let me tell you what really makes me feel good. I'm doing this along with more than 100 people around the world, and it's absolutely positively no money changing hands. None whatsoever. We don't sell anything, we don't raffle anything, we don't charge anything. It's because we're all in it for one thing, to make wood turning more fun for us and for our youngins. These are 2 youngins. I have a guy that's 92, that's got a son that's 63, that's got another son that's in his upper 30s. They all turn. Yeah. And I think the one in the upper 30s got a kid coming along. It's about sharing information. I want you to be part of this. I want to be part of this, not just you. I want to be part of it. So stick with me. Sometimes it's going to be hard. They tell me I shouldn't, but hey, what do they know? I'm still above the flowers, and I'm all right with that. I'm Captain Eddie Castellan. Thanks for giving me a moment. I got to get back to whatever I was doing in the shop. Oh yeah, I remember now. Nothing. Take care. I'm going out and making some shavings.